Everybody, my name is Kim Martin. I'm a Sidebar member just like you, and it's my incredible pleasure to introduce somebody who I can now consider a friend and who I've met through the network, through networking, Sophia. She is an incredibly bright, caring, and giving personality. She's a life and career coach who helps ambitious women stop outsourcing their self-worth to their resumes. She's the founder of Gearing Together. She supports high achieving professionals, especially those that are first generation success stories, mission driven leaders, and anyone who's ready to lead with clarity, not burnout. Speaking of burnout, Sophia herself has had that lived experience. So this type of, so helping others work through that is something that's close and dear to her heart. She's got over 15 years worth of corporate financial or finance experience across companies like ABBV, Kellogg, Ferrero, and Kraft. And she really understands the pressure of staying productive, polished, and permanently on and over functioning. Again, she's walked that tightrope herself with an MBA from Syracuse and a BBA from Howard University. She's got a long track record, and today she's going to bring a lot of her strategy, her vision, and her coaching into this workshop. And again, it's all about how do we think about burnout differently. Sophia, did I miss anything?
No, you got it. You nailed it,
Awesome.
Kim.
Awesome. So take it away.
Well, thank you everyone for showing up today, especially today, September 10th, because we're getting really close to everyone's favorite quarter, Q4, 3 months left in the year, 90 days left, and it's going to be crunch time here soon. And I'm not here to diagnose your burnout because you know what you feel, and it's real. It's your mother-in-law, it's that project deadline, it's the next rotation, it's the end of the year review, the next launch. I'm here to get you out of the burnout cycle, out of the so what's, right? Because we know that stress comes with what we do. But how do we look at something more than our metrics? And I know it's balance from burnout to balance, but before we even talk about tipping the scales, we need to look at the metrics. So let me ask you, I would like for the chat to be live. So I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to give you some thought questions here. But 3 months to round out the year, put it in the chat. What words are you hearing too much of? And while you type those in, I'll just, spew off a few that I know. Latest estimate, quarter end, headwinds, budget expenses, ROI. Go ahead and, hit your revenue goal. Okay, see, yes, exactly. Because we're running out of runway. Exactly. Oh man. Well, when you take some of these items and you pair those conversations with holiday schedules, yeah, Eric, I see you like exceed the goals. How do you exceed the goals when there's only 3 months left? Like it's nearly impossible. But when you pair these conversations with the holidays, let's just use Thanksgiving as an example. Do I want to celebrate it this year? Whose house are we going to? Who's making the turkey? Do I really want to tolerate Uncle Mike? The holidays, plus the holiday scheduling, burnout is bubbling right at the surface. In fact, we just finished summer vacations. And how many of you, be honest, I'll be honest too, how many of you checked your Teams, your Outlook, your Slack while you were supposed to be out of office? That was me. I definitely did it. I was supposed to be in the Caribbean and I'm checking. Um, we push through it, but we never get to the root issue. But here today in this space, we're going to openly chat about tools to help you prevent it and prevent burnout. And I want you to remember when you walk away, I want you to remember that you're more than your metrics. I'm going to give you some tools, but before we get started, where is your phone? I need you to find your phone for me. Who has their phone? Um, Tell me when you find your phone, because of course it's within arm's reach, right? Um, what percentage is your phone at right now in the bedroom? Okay, not at arm's reach. Oh, okay. Come on, my gimmick has to work. No, you're good. Anybody? Okay, put in the chat what percentage your phone is at. Mine is at 38%, 60%, 82%. Oh, how is yours at 82%, Eric? Do you not have you not used your phone all day, or does it sit on the charger?
No, I just ran an errand and was in the car and the charger. So
Ah, okay.
me.
Overachiever. I like it. I like it. But you could argue that, you don't really need your phone for much right now. Someone is at 100%. Okay, now that's the overachiever. That's not even cool. You can argue that, you use your phone for a lot of things, and that's why the battery isn't at 100%. Oh, it looks like my assistant texts me that there's a typo in one of my slides. You know what? If you can find the typo, please type it in the chat. Help me out here. But this is a smartphone, and it does a lot. You can order groceries, you can read current articles, you can map out your route to happy hour. You could book flights, you could watch a show, you could even call your cousin. But there's one catch to this ability, and it's that the phone needs to be charged and recharged to work. Nothing is worse than a dead phone. And how many of us wait until the end of the day to recharge our phones? We don't. So, why do we wait until the end of the day to attempt to recharge ourselves? Why do we put all of our hopes and dreams on a dream vacation to reset us? And what is that? What is that feeling you get when you see the battery go from green to yellow to red, especially when it's red because there's just a sliver of battery left? For me, I feel alarm, right? So what do? We carry a power cord with us just in case. And we look for the seat at the coffee shop that is nearest the outlet. As soon as we get on the airplane, we're putting in, we don't even need to charge our phone, but it's like, I never know, I might need it for something, right? So why don't we treat ourselves the same way? Instead, what do? We say, you know what, I'm tired. I have to keep going. I'm going to push through. And you just keep typing away, right? You hear that growl, that's your stomach. And you say, you know what, let me just chug a little bit more caffeine instead of breaking for lunch. So I want you to look at this image here. And what do you see? Do you see an outlet? I see a power grid. I see a way to recharge. I see a way to replenish your energy. And I want you to see yourself as this smart device plugged into the power grid. And my question to you is, what is inside that outlet slot that gives you power? What would that be? Now, I have a thought exercise because some people just don't, they're like, I don't know what that could be. I guess it's caffeine, maybe it's more water. Put on your thinking caps. Here we go. Where are my dessert people? I know everybody likes dessert. Put your favorite dessert in the chat because, all desserts are not created equal. Um, Clearly, I gave mine away already, the cookie. Oh, ice cream. Oh, hummingbird cake. Oh, is that the one with the nuts in it? Yeah, okay, okay. Oh, lemon bars. Oh, now those are deadly because you think you just have one and then you have another one. Strawberry cake and yogurt. So for me, it is, it's a warm chocolate cookie, chocolate chip cookie. It needs to be warm, it needs to be firm, but a little soft, right? And when I break it in half, it's so warm. When I break it in half, I can see the steam come out, right? I can feel the weight of the ingredients in my hand. I can see the textures, and I love it. I am a cookie snob. Um, if I see a grandma hand me an old cookie, hey baby, please try this cookie, I will kindly be on a diet. You can keep it. I am very particular about my cookies, and I know you feel the same way about your desserts. There's only a certain place that makes it right, or a certain person that makes it right. Now, the ways that we recharge are like that cookie, like that lemon bar, like the ice cream. It's something that lights you up. But instead of spiking your blood sugar, it's something that warms your soul. And this is important because we know that we're all dispensable. So, this is the thought exercise. I want you to think about a time when you were the most happy. So, close your eyes if you can, or if you want to. If you don't want to participate, that's fine, but you're going to wish you had, okay? So, go ahead and close your eyes, take a deep breath. For me, it's nice just to put those lids together because they've been on all day. Take a deep breath in and out, put your hand on your heart, and imagine the place where you were happiest most recently. Um, Take a deep breath. Think about the period of time when you were consistently happy. Like it doesn't need to be a landmark event. The day I bought my first car, it could be something small. Take a breath in and out. It could be the day you found a penny on the ground. If you could just go to that place, breathe in, breathe out, what do you see? Who's there with you? Are you inside? Are you outside? If you're outside, is your nose cold or is the sun on your face? Is there wind that's nearby that you can feel on your arms and legs? Or are you inside? Who is there with you? Take a deep breath in. What does the wallpaper look like? Is someone there with you who has an infectious laugh? Maybe it's just the birds that are there with you. What textures do you see? I want you to go to that place. Are you in a restaurant? Are you at a friend's house? Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. Okay, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes soon, but just take a deep breath in. And the question is, what are you doing and what makes you feel happy in this moment? So go ahead and open your eyes slowly. And hopefully you have a pen nearby. I want you to jot down just a few words that can remind you of this place that you were at, because I want us to come back to it. And if you're brave enough, just drop it in the chat so that way we can encourage each other and I can lean into that moment as we keep working here. And I'll put some paper here as well, just in case I see something pop up. Um, so now the question is, like, since you jotted that down, how can you take a small bite of that moment with you today? How can you create a small habit, okay? A small habit to bring that happiness to your day or to your week. Because if everything is about your metrics, what happens to you? You never make time for yourself, for your basic needs. You don't even appreciate the things really around you. And for me, it was, it's like those Amazon returns. Like, what returns? They were just always sitting on the floor. I'll get to them when I can, right? Or that's me showing up at a family event, not really present, but thinking through that email, or how am I going to book time with this VP because I know they're going out of town soon. Or I'm not shopping for myself anymore. I'm shopping at Costco. If you're constantly proving yourself, nothing is enough and you're impatient. And that's what happened to me. Um, I was a finance director and there wasn't a problem I couldn't solve. The C-suite was my customer and I loved it. High visibility, high demand, a lot of challenges, but that also meant high stress. That always meant being always on call. And one simple question from a VP, simple question, hey, I like that metric. What about if we turned an input into an output? You're like, okay, sure, I like that idea, Bill. But that answer is an overnighter and 10 hours of rework for the deck, for the slide that goes in the deck, inside the backup, inside the appendix. And I had it all under control until one morning, getting dressed for work, I broke out in hives. I slathered, I said, I'm a problem solver. So I slathered my body in calamine lotion and I just put on a darker colored cardigan and I kept it moving. I'll call the doctor tomorrow. And do you know, I didn't call the doctor tomorrow. It took me 3 days of that happening consecutively for me finally to call. And the doctor said, oh, it's work stress. I was pretty irritated. I'm like, work stress? Really? But it became a wake-up call. I looked around and I realized my company grew 3x in 24 months. And all the other smart people that I worked with, they quit, which left me as the go-to, which was good and bad. Like, I was the hero, but I turned into Batman and Bruce Wayne and Robin. Like, I was everybody. um, but my body was whispering to me, you're not a hero. You're not mortal. You have to slow down. But if you never take a pause and you're always on, you don't have space to think. You don't have time to think strategically. And that stress cycle, it continues. Yes, you press a little pause button, but it just keeps going, especially if you kind of love what you do. It's there, it's right in front of you. So some of you shared your happy spots. I think I saw sun, and let me see if I can kind of find some here. Sun, I thought I saw sun. Sun on my face. Oh, oh wow. Is this, yes, I love this beach. What beach is that? Oh, yeah, your dog Toto.
It's
Sun on my,
Gracie Fields.
I love it. Oh, it looks so relaxing, especially the sand in your feet. Oh, in between your toes, that's my favorite. Oh, and your little one running, your Toto running like crazy. So for me, mine is roller skating. Every Saturday as a kid with my cousins, we would go down to the roller rink and I could feel it's so weird. It's like the wind was in your face. You're having the time in your life, but you're sweating profusely. You're like, why am I sweating? It doesn't matter. It's fun. I remember hearing my favorite song on the loudspeaker and secretly waiting for the DJ to call my song, to play my song. Because at that point, there was no electronic playlist, right? Or electronic request. You would write your song down on a clipboard, and the DJ would, look at it, scratch it off. And the song I submitted, because I know you're wondering, it was Dream Lover by Mariah Carey. Okay, anybody else like Mariah? Okay, don't worry about it. I'm not going to judge you. It made me happy. Okay, but now I'm going to hold this in my hand as I think of ways to take a small bite, a small piece of this, and turn it into a habit to help me recharge. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, you know what, Sophia, I got it all together. What is she talking about? Half of this stuff, whatever. Um, you work till you die, but stress is the villain. And I told you my story, but look at these stats. The one that gets me is the one at the bottom. It says 47% of employees say that most of their stress comes from work. So it's like one in two. And then the one above it, because often we say it's just stress, is something I'll deal with, but it impacts interpersonal relationships, divorce, estrangement from kids, breakups. So what's the point of working so hard if you can't enjoy it, or if you can't enjoy it with others, or if you don't have the mental bandwidth to enjoy it? So let me ask you a question. I've been asking a lot of questions. I'm glad you're not tired of me yet. When was the last time you had space to think? Space to think about what actually matters to you, what actually matters to your team, to your product, to your career, not just what's urgent. When was the last time and how often do you truly have space? And I'm not asking you to do more. I'm asking you to do less so that way you can think more. Because let's be real, you're in back-to-back meetings, you're putting out fires. Strategic thinking typically happens, at least for me, at 9 p.m. when I'm exhausted. But at least no one's calling me, the house is quiet. Your best decisions seem to come out of fight or flight responses. It's like you're optimizing metrics while missing the bigger picture. And you know you're missing the bigger picture because you can only afford to look, 5 steps in front. And so I really want us to see strategic breaks, not as downtime, but as your competitive advantage. So just think about that. When was the last time you had space to think? Which brings me to this mindset shift, right? It's your competitive advantage. I want you to think about this small way, small habit that you can weave into your day because a small change, it has a huge impact. Now, for me, I really love skating. It's the movement, it's the wind in my face, but I often feel like I'm tethered to my desk because I have to get things done. I'm on, time crunch. I got to get it done. So one of the hacks that I found was instead of me using one of these insulated cups, right, that keeps things hot for 8 hours or cold for 8 hours, um, I found that that actually keeps me stuck in my little vortex of burnout, of stress, because I have full octane fuel right here to go at the ready at my desired temperature whenever I want. So what I did was I switched to a mug because not only does the mug, I can actually feel the warmth of the mug, right? So that is allowing me to change my thought process because I'm out of the spreadsheet and I'm in this space. Oh, this is hot. My body is flipping on like some of my physical just physical elements instead of always being mental with my spreadsheets. But also, this won't stay cold or hot forever. It'll get warm, room temperature. And that signals to me, hey, it's time to get up. It's time to add some movement into your day. So it's annoying enough for me to get up and force movement into my day. Hey, let me go get a refresher, right? But it's also lovely because it brings some other part, some sort of element into my day. Because let me tell you, if I just look at the clock alone, I will negotiate and renegotiate more time. Let me just keep cranking away. Oh, it's the 22. Okay, if I keep going, yeah, I'll crank it out until 3 o'clock. Then I look up, oh, just give me until 4:15. I'll have it done. And next thing you know, time has gotten away from me. But again, the cold coffee annoys me enough to pivot. And it's small changes like this that give me more time and space to get out of my narrow world because burnout will keep you locked in. So I would like for us, you have pen and paper handy. So, you know, we got to put this to work here. I've talked enough. I want you to write down how you want to see yourself in the future. I know, not a dissertation. I don't need a dissertation or a book release, but I'm looking for either 3 adjectives or 3 adverbs that would describe, I really want one, but if you can kind of like spitball through like three, that describe where you would see your ideal self if you were truly able to create balance. What does that look like on you? Right? So for me, I saw myself, oh, I like that Kim composed. I saw myself as frazzled all the time. Like personal life was very frazzled. At work, I was composed, but I was very, what's the word? I was impatient. I'll just say it. I was impatient. I was rude. No, I don't want to hear why you're late for work. Yes, I'm so happy you got engaged. Can we get into the project? Like, I was very impatient. And in the future, I would like to see myself as more paced. Ooh, radiance, confident and loving. Ooh, tell me more about, Elizabeth, tell me more about radiance. What is that one? Tell me what you envision with radiance.
Yeah, there's just the sense of vitality, this just health and like shine. There just something about grace, love, like all encompassing with that.
Yeah, okay. I like that because I'm also seeing kind of like an aura, you know, like it's within you, so it kind of like radiates outside of you as well. Guadalupe, what does fulfilled mean? I like that.
I think it's when like everything that I do is aligned with what I want to be. I think it's you know, working for a company that I really believe in the mission, volunteering for the causes that I think people need to volunteer for. So I think that's for me is being fulfilled. Like be a nice person, be a nice human.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And it also sounds like your fulfillment is linked, you're linking your values and you're aligning it to the energy and what you do, not only the energy your output, but also your input. And therefore it's creating happiness. So my question is like, because burnout can happen even if you love your role, right? My question to you is, how can you put a warm cookie or a light up moment into your day to make sure that you can get closer every day to either being caring or fulfilled or fit and enthusiastic or confident and loving? What does that look like? Like just a small example of that. That's what I want you to jot down. As you jot down, I know it's hard to write things and think things when people are talking. I have music, but Kim said my music isn't working. So what I will do is I'll just flip it to the next slide and share what I was envisioning. Like I told you that I switched to a mug, but I also switched from coffee to tea because I feel like that helped me break away from the monotony of the day. And it's a break that I'm adding intentionally to my hour, to this 30 minutes or 2 minutes as I wait to see that tea bag, and diffuse the colors in the water. So I'm trying to think, let's see, radiance. Okay, so fit is kind of tough, Eric. Let's see, how could you weave being fit into your day? Would that be more movement into your day, would you say? Or
Yeah, it's more movement, making sure committing to the movement instead of just saying, like you said, tethered to the desk all day and just, you know, making sure I'm making space for that time.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you're saying making space because it's one time I used to set my tracker here, my fitness tracker, to beep every 20 minutes, not 20 minutes, but 20 minutes in every hour. And I would get so annoyed. I'm like, just get up. I'm working. I do not have time. So I like that you said give yourself space to actually do it, to take the break and give yourself permission. And I talk a lot about leadership and leading yourself differently. And I think often we're waiting on someone to tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, you worked enough today. Go, go take a brain break. Go, go for a walk. Take a movement break. But that person is you. You have to give yourself permission to do it and trust that the work will be here when you get back, right? And that you also know that refreshing your eyes and getting out of the screen, out of the deliverable, out of the urgency, it brings you back even more refreshed. Um, so, going back to that warm cookie, just think about like cookie crumbs that you can add to your day to recharge. Was anyone else? Oh, Elizabeth, you said, oh, you got to go. I wasn't sure if anybody else had some ideas on ways that they could weave that light up moment, that recharging moment into their day. I know movement was one. Radiate, oh, dance breaks. Okay, I like that. Um,
I legit
Kim,
have them.
do you really have a dance off?
I, I, well, it was a good work friend, and I was like, we were on a virtual call, and I was like, there's only one way to do this. We just we have to have a dance off.
Yes, 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 yes. And I love that because that sounds like something out of a movie. Like you only know one way to solve this, and then that's when everyone comes in, and it's like the dance mob.
Yeah, but I have been weaving in like different dance breaks to play around with like somatic releases, and so I've just been two, three, sometimes a whole song. I'm just like I'm just gonna dance break.
Yeah, no, 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 right. Because often when we're just sitting at our desk, even a stretch does a lot, right? But if you're sitting at your desk, your body, it becomes sedentary. Yes, your body's like, you're not even using me right now. So I'm just gonna, I don't need to work as hard to help pump blood to your brain and help you come up with new processes or even problem solve. So I love that both of these are around movement, right? Um, Guadalupe, I'm thinking about the sand. I wish there was a way you could bring the beach to your day, like throughout your day somehow.
Oh, I go not the beach, but like I take my dog to a dog park that has like a grass area.
Okay,
And
okay,
then we just sit there, like two dog parks, one that's close to my home, one that's close to the office because I can bring him to the office. So
okay.
that's kind of like the beach I go on the weekends, but during the weekdays is like being in the grass, you know.
Yeah, yes, yes, the grass, grounding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. So think more about that cell phone that we were talking about. Everything we do during the day, just like the smartphone, right? Every time you use it, you drain the battery. 1% here, 2% there. So that's why it's important that we recharge throughout the day and we need to find things that give us energy. And I like that you brought up Guadalupe, that you go to the beach on the weekends, right? Because sometimes people say, well, I have that hobby and I do it on the weekend or I do it once a month. But you have to find ways consistently to recharge. One of my favorite books, Everyday Dharma, talks about you need 8 breaks, 8 strategic breaks throughout the day to be your best self, to spark the most creativity. And often, I don't know about you, but I negotiate them away. I'm like, oh, if I could just get this done. I'm more concerned about my to-do list and cranking things through, but I often forget about myself. And these tiny habits, they will make sure that your battery isn't at 5%. And for me, I don't even realize that my battery's at 5% until I'm snapping at people and I'm impatient. And I think, oh no, what have I done wrong here? Like why am I snapping at people? Oh, I only had a granola bar for lunch. Oh, I'm on my third cup of coffee. Like sometimes more coffee isn't the solution. Sometimes it's a quick walk to the mailbox or walk around another floor or walking the dog. I just jotted down a few things here that help me recharge, or you could add to your day a walk to grab more water. Yep. A good meal. For me, I would crank through. I would just eat a granola bar. I would just like chug through a salad just quickly because I needed fuel. But what about a really good hearty meal or calling that friend that makes you laugh? Laughter is good for the soul. It's good for your heart. Or if you're an introvert, maybe listening to an audiobook at lunch, an upbeat playlist. Kim, maybe you could do your dance off to a playlist, but that's in a different genre. Like, who knows? Maybe, you can get out some glow sticks with techno. I don't know. Maybe, just an idea, no pressure. But I want you to just look at it differently. It's less reactive scheduling, and I want you to be more intentional about your decision making. We're going to do less firefighting and more fire prevention through these strategic thinking breaks, and more work that actually moves the needle. But you can only do that if you're charging yourself along the way, because everything else will steal your energy. All right, so we talked about what you could potentially do, but I want you have your pen and your paper nearby, and this is a workshop. I run my workshops. If you don't write it down, it just stays up here and we never take action on it, right? So that one recharging method that you thought about, it's important to not only know when, but how. And I call this an operations manual, or maybe your SOP, right? I need something concrete that will help me stay on track to keep these changes, these new habits. So the way that you decided that you were going to recharge, think through these questions. Like, what will you do? We talked about that, but when will you do it? And will you do this alone? How will you protect your time? And then who will support you? I like this one because often we think about I'm just gonna take my walk break on my own. But it's nice to have support and to hold yourself accountable. And maybe that's your team. Or maybe that's your manager. You say to your team, hey, I'm going to start scheduling walk and talk meetings. So if you see W/T in, the description, we're going to walk and talk. You get on, everyone's virtual, maybe, but maybe you can walk in real time around the office, around the floor. Or, hey, just put on your earbuds, call into this meeting. We don't need cameras, but tell me your thoughts on this deliverable, or how are you doing for your one-on-one? Because not only are you supporting your habit, you're getting support from your team, but you're also encouraging them to take care of themselves. Because it's great if you can lead yourself to do it, but we want to make space for our teams as well. So I'm going to give you a grid to jot this down. But as I do that, this is what the grid looks like. You're going to write down, basically get like tic-tac-toe, but you need 4 columns instead of just 3. And at the top, I want you to write actions I can take to make this happen, words I can use to pivot my day, things I can do to change my attitude, because I don't know about you, but I can have the best intentions and my manager will come in with a category 5 hurricane drama, or my work bestie she really wants to talk about her breakup today. So how can I change my attitude to get me back into the right mindset? And then what can stop me? So I want you to create that grid, and then we'll talk through some methods. We'll just do one, and we'll map it out because I want to set you up for success here. And one thing that helped me was, like, I will send myself an email in the subject line. I'll put walk today and I'll leave it unread. So that way it's at the top of my inbox. So even when I want to tell myself, no, we're not going to get it done, or this other deliverable is important, I see walk today, is at the top. And it's at the top of my to-do list, right? And it's right in front of my face. And how dare I, not honor myself or honor that request. So I'm going to give you a beat or two to jot those down. That, just that first item, it's just the actions you can take, words, things, and then what can stop you. Because that's the thing, like, we want to make this small habit effortless, right? Because if it's effortless, that means you can repeat it and you can practice it. And that's the thing. It takes one tiny step to help you get closer to either recharging or further away from burnout. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward here and give my example of skating. I told you that I love roller skating, and it was indoors in the rink, but some of the actions that I can take to help me, like, do better when it comes to movement. would be movement breaks. I told you about my tea and my hack to actually use a mug. And I have like 3 different color mugs because I don't know, it just adds energy to the day. It energizes me, but it's annoying, but it forces me to get up, right? I can take the stairs. And I also told you that words that I can use to pivot my day is either putting that unread email at the top of my inbox, or I can put song lyrics, my favorite song that I would hear from Dream Lover. I'm not going to sing it for you, don't worry, but I could put that as a subject line in my inbox. Sometimes I actually write lyrics on the side of my to-do list here, because just seeing it as I flip through it, it reminds me. I don't know if you can, I think you can kind of see some words in here. Oh, you can see, maybe not. Okay, I quit. Okay, these are lyrics I wrote inside my to-do list. So as I'm flipping through things of the day, I could flip through that page and it energizes me. Or sometimes I just write it on the left side of the margin. I jot down wins. A solo dance party in the bathroom stall, sometimes that's good. Um, a walk to grab more water. I like that. Um, so one thing that can stop me is defaulting to push through mode. And I want to talk about this just for a little bit, because as high achievers or overachievers, we have, I would say, a higher pain tolerance, a higher perseverance tolerance. We're good at pushing through, right? But I want you to challenge yourself to do a little less, right? It's okay to leave some work for tomorrow. Because in doing that, you really help yourself be better for tomorrow. I can remember cranking so much through some deliverable, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to get this done. It's 9 p.m. and it's going to be fine. Next thing I know, it's 11 and then it's 12, but I got it done, right? So excited I got it done. But that was at the cost of sleep. So the next day I said, oh, I'm just going to over caffeinate. But I was starting my day at less than 100%. So I was truly impatient. I was irritable. I was a jerk to a lot of people around me. So that's why I think it's important for us to, I guess, have this grid or have it written down, so that way we can prepare ourselves for success in the future. Um, I also had one more, adventure. Adventure is a part of skating in my mind, the wind in my face. So I wanted to challenge myself to change my commute, to refresh my workspace. Maybe that means, changing my monitor from this one being my primary to that one, or maybe I move my desk to a window. Maybe I work from a coffee shop. But that means telling myself, giving myself permission to not be green all day. It's okay. So I just wanted to share some examples of what this could look like, because there's so much power in these tiny movements. I have 2 more slides left, but before I get to that, Kim, I think you need to interrupt me for a commercial break here.
Awesome. Yes. So everybody, we ask that if you have any feedback on, if you want to go ahead and complete the survey, if you've got any feedback, please make sure that you click the link or use the QR code. And in fact, I will put the link for the survey in the chat here very shortly. And yeah, just make sure that you take that QR code or click the link and just give us your thoughts. And of course, Sophia, she gets the results as well. So she runs on that too. So thank you so much.
Awesome. 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 Okay. Back to your scheduled program. So you've seen this chart before. I know you have, but I have to remind you, because what's going to happen today is we're going to jot these things down. We're going to say, it's great, I'll get to it later. And then we don't get to it. Or you may say to yourself, this feels good, but I still feel stuck. How do I step out of this cycle? First, I want to be the first to tell you today, you are not stuck. We have choices. Some of us have more choices than others, but we always have a choice. And I love this visual, because it reminds me what's in my control, right? I control how I speak to myself. I control the boundaries that I set. I control like how I react to others. I control what I give my energy to. And the actions of others, all of that is outside of my control. So by focusing on the things that are within my grasp, I can take action and make choices. Like when I get stuck or struggle with boundaries, I focus on who I want to be. Do we want to be radiant? Do we want to be fit? Let's focus on that, so that way we can make it happen. And the only way that you can get off of autopilot is by making a pivot and making a change. So my question to you is like, what takeaways will you take action on? You know, what habits will you start? We talked about habits, but what will you stop? What will you continue? You know, everyone talks about self-care, but what about self-compassion? How will you talk to yourself? You know, I used to think I was giving myself like the best pep talk. Come on, Sophia, you got this. Let's go. But that I was actually being a drill sergeant. Meanwhile, I'm talking to my team, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Or, you know, solutions have problems. Instead, perhaps I should go to the bathroom, and instead of giving myself a pep talk like a drill sergeant, I should talk to myself with more compassion, be more understanding, give myself permission, pause. So if all of this was a lot to keep up with, these are the four things I want you to remember. It's all about small habits. And if you need a metric to think about, because I know we run on metrics, think about ROE, your return on energy, instead of ROI. What will be your ROE? I want you to drop some of your takeaways in the chat if you can, because micro habits, they matter more than big leaps. We always put all our chips on that big vacation, or I'm going to take a sabbatical one of these days, but maybe start with a 2-minute pause or a decline meeting, or maybe just hesitating before you answer to that Slack or that instant messenger ping. I want you to lead yourself like a human, not like a machine, right? We're so focused on output and output, but model self-respect, because if you do that, you give others permission to do the same. I talked about choices, but lead with your choice. Just because you've done it before, it doesn't mean that you should. Just because you pick up the slack, just because you're always the glue, just because you say yes to that ask on the weekend, it doesn't mean that you have to. I want you to identify your choices and set your priority. And then lastly, your output is not your identity. So, I mean, once you get to a certain level, you pride yourself on what you can do, meeting your metrics, but that's not who you are. I would always introduce myself, hey, I'm Sophia, I'm director at this company, and I love bragging about it, but you are not your title. And you aren't your inbox either. And you, I know you love to color code your calendar, but refining, I want you to redefine success in a way that starts with reclaiming your energy and how you spend it. So, was anyone ever able to find that typo, Kim? Did anyone find that typo for me? No?
For some reason, and I'll show you, there's a watermark that was covering up part of that. So it was a
Okay.
little hard to see what typo might have been there.
And there
Okay.
was a typo on the villain um, page. The villain
Gotcha.
site.
Guadalupe got it. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. If you could connect us afterward, Kim, that would be great. Guadalupe, I would love to give you or maybe someone on your team the opportunity just to have like 3 coaching sessions with me. We will look at how you use your energy, reclaiming who you are, recharging. We talk about recharging, but also how you realign your day and your just your cadence of doing things to bring those things to life. So yeah, I would love for you guys to be social. This is how you can find me. If you really like kind of like my vibe, you can find me on YouTube. I release just new topics on burnout and leading yourself differently there. And everything else is here too. Can I take any questions, Kim? Do we have time? I think we have time for questions, yeah? If you want to type some through, or I will mention, I typically get 2 questions. Um, Sometimes people ask, like, this is great, but I just really need a quick hit. Like, what is something small that I can do that will have the greatest impact? I don't have the time to go through this thought exercise. I appreciate your time, Sophia, but I don't have the time. And what I would say to you or to that person is sleep. Get 8 hours of sleep every day. Sleep allows your brain to form more neural pathways, and it enables you to be sharper and to problem solve. And normally, sleep and working out are the first 2 things to go. So I really want you to find time to sleep. Another question I typically get, doesn't look like there, okay, no one has any questions, is what books can I read? I like this. What books have like influenced you, Sophia? Gentle by Courtney Carver. She talks about we push through, but she says, well, what if you rest through? What if you start your day planning your rest breaks and then working everything else around it? So what if you rest through? I talked about sleep. Why We Sleep is a good one. But The Essentialist by Greg McQueen, that one's good too. And my favorite book, because I'm a perfectionist in denial, which is why I was irritated that there was a typo, is The Perfectionist Guide to Losing Control. I don't have the author on the tip of my tongue, but that's a good book as well.
There's another very good book that it was kind of like mandatory for everybody in communications and advertising in Brazil
Yeah.
when I was in college. That's by this philosopher called Domenico Di Masi, and he writes about how do I say also how like the non-productive time that you have is probably the time that you find solutions for your problems. And that apply to also, work and stuff. So, and I don't know, probably I was like too naive. I was like too young in college. And it was something that really got stuck with me because when I'm having like this big obstacle or like, something that I don't find any way on solving it, I just gonna do something completely different. I'm gonna play video games. I'm gonna,
Yeah. Yeah.
forget about that's what he said, like forget about the problem. The solution is gonna be out there and
Yeah.
it's gonna be in a completely different setting than the problem. Because when you are too immersed, you are not gonna see what's happening.
Exactly. I like that. I like it also because I feel like often, even with our workload, we that's why I want us to bring these small habits into our day, right? Into the things that you do into your week, right? So maybe you'll have a puzzle nearby your desk, right? Or maybe you could, I don't know if you want to play video games during the day, but something that allows you to completely control alt delete from
Yeah.
the problem to look forward to find things because that's how you gain momentum to move forward. Yeah, I love this. That's all I had, Kim. It's back to you.
Awesome. There's a question that I had
Oh,
out there that I'm curious about. Does anybody already have anything that they're doing now to help them pause and create that space? I see some folks on this call that haven't spoken up yet, like Felix, Eric. I didn't know if you wanted to add anything.
What was the question again?
Is there
And
anything?
well, oh, sorry, go ahead, Felix. You went first.
Oh, I was just asking Kim the question again.
No problem. The question again is there anything that you're already doing today that is giving you space and or the pause? If there isn't, is there something that you're going to start doing?
mm,
Yeah, I mean, I guess just getting up from my desk and walking around. I kind of like the mug idea. I do use um like a thermos type cup that really just I can just sit there all day.
Mm,
So I think, having something that's a little bit more fleeting in terms of forcing me to get up and building that habit would be nice.
I like that one. Especially because like it's helpful, but it's also annoying enough, right? You're like, oh, I got to get up, right? And then boom, you're out of that space. You change where you are. Your mind thinks of other things, even to change rooms or change the four walls that you're in. Eric, you mentioned earlier about movement, like having movement breaks. Do you use a fitness tracker to do that, or?
I do, yeah. I mean, the reason I put fit on there is I used to run a lot, right? I don't run it or I've let that slip, and I was gonna say to Guadalupe, I do carve out time to make sure my dogs get exercise, but I don't necessarily carve out time for me. So I just need to block out more time for that. So yeah, the dogs, well, I get the exercise by making sure I take the dogs for a walk every morning. But the first thing that goes is I come back and go, oh, I got to get into my emails now instead of taking another or getting up a little bit earlier to make sure I do mine. So, I mean, I get exercise too when I take them for their walk. That's nice, but not just by myself.
Yeah.
Do you need your dogs to take you for a walk?
They try. That's the funny thing, right? Usually in the afternoon, one of them will come in and be like, "You've been sitting here all day. What are you doing?" And I just tell them to go away.
Another thing that for me is a break that it was unconscious, but I know that it's like my break. I always try to find the place to sit like the farthest from the water, from the kitchen or stuff, because I know like I have like a bottle at my desk. I know that I have to get up, go there, and then like, see some people or like go outside or something and then go back to the desk. I think, and also it also helps with me going to the bathroom because sometimes I forget. And then I'm like, oh, I am having pain, like, no, it's because I forgot to go. So that's my ordeal. It's like I get my bottle, I go fill up the bottle, go to the bathroom, come back to work.
Yeah, I didn't think about the restroom aspect. You're right. That bio break will definitely make you get up in a hurry, like now. I know you said you want to finish that. No, now. I like that. That's all I had, Kim. Did you want to take us home or?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for Sophia for sharing your tips and tricks and for sharing everything that you've learned.